Hey, good afternoon, everyone. I welcome you again in this session. So last day we have conducted this Prelims Connect session 1 where we have discussed some important questions related to environment. Okay. In the last session, I have got a number of responses from many of you. Personally also that it has been quite much helpful for you. Yes. So we have also even provided the PDF of these sessions, like the questions which are there and the related concepts which are associated with it. We have also even provided the PDF of these things in the description. There is a link there. You have to just go there on the link, and you can also download the PDF of all these sessions. Okay. So on this second day of this Prelims Connect, again, we are going to have some questions related to environment which have been asked in the prelims, and we are going to see how the things are connected with each other and how we can read the related topics with those concepts, okay, with those previous year questions. Now, here we have one such very important area. There is this one question related to biogeochemical cycles, and these 4 cycles are there: carbon cycle, nitrogen cycle, phosphorus cycle, and sulfur cycle. This is a very prominent biogeochemical cycle series. Okay, and you should be aware about them, especially if we talk about the nitrogen cycle. This is one such important area which you should be aware about. Okay, this one question was there that in the case of which of the following biogeochemical cycles the weathering of rock is the main source of release of nutrients to enter the cycle. Okay, and then they have given these 4 options, that carbon cycle is there, nitrogen is there, phosphorus cycle is there, and then we also have this sulfur cycle. So yes, I have got some answers. As one answer I have got is C. Anyone else who would like to say what is the answer, correct answer here? We have got one answer as C. Anyone else? See, when we talk about these cycles, you will find here, in the case of carbon cycle, we are having the gaseous cycle, the fossil fuels which are there, the different biomass which is there. From all these things, there are multiple sources. The carbon can be there in the atmosphere in form of this respiration process. From the respiration also, we have the release of carbon dioxide. From burning of fossil fuels, we have the release of carbon dioxide. From the burning of biomass, we have again the release of carbon dioxide. Okay, and then through various methods, many of these are coming back to the surface in the terms of photosynthesis, and even sometimes in form of the carbonic acid which is there, the normal acid, the normal rain. We have seen last day, the normal rainfall is slightly acidic, and it is due to the carbonic acid. So even carbon from the atmosphere is also coming to our surface in some form. Okay. Then nitrogen cycle. Here also you can see there is gaseous stage, and in that the atmospheric nitrogen is converted by certain nitrogen fixing bacteria into the soil, and from there again there are certain denitrifying bacteria also, and these denitrifying bacteria are basically converted it back into the form of elemental nitrogen back into the atmosphere. Okay, so there are multiple things here also, but it is also mainly a gaseous cycle. When we talk about these two, remaining these two, phosphorus cycle and sulfur cycle, here we are also seeing the weathering of rocks to be one such stage involved in these 2 cycles. Okay. In the sulfur cycle, we can see that there is also the release of sulfur oxides in form of gases. Okay. And then in form of acid rain it comes back. Okay. Then at the same time, there are also rocks from where the weathering is there and the sulfate also enters into the soil. So when we are talking about the sulfur cycle, there is both the rock cycle as well as the gaseous cycle. But when we talk about this phosphorus, here we can see that we have only this rock cycle. It is entirely based on the weathering of the rocks. From the weathering of the rocks, the phosphate enters the soil, and again in the form of sediments it is deposited and forms the rock. Again the same cycle continues. Okay. So here we can see we are having carbon cycle which is mainly gaseous, nitrogen is again gaseous, sulfur gaseous plus rock, and this phosphorus cycle is entirely based on the rock cycle, the weathering of rock. Okay. So of course the answer here would be C. Yes, you are correct that the answer here would be C. Okay. Now see about these things also there. Okay. Especially the nitrogen cycle. Try to find out, just go through the NCERTs, there also you will find out that what are the bacteria which are involved in this process of nitrification. and also those bacteria which are responsible for this denitrification process. You can see UPSC has been asking questions about these cycles in different manner. Last year they were having this question that which of the following are nitrogen fixing plants. Okay, so nitrogen cycle also they have asked about this phosphorus cycle also. Now there is sulfur cycle also, carbon cycle also. So read about these biogeochemical cycles. These are the basic concepts of your environment and questions have been frequently asked from this area. Okay, so that is our first question of the day. Okay, then the second one, again a very basic question. Okay, that's why I have been telling you, like I have told you multiple times that in the environment section, we are seeing around 7 to 8 questions which are quite basic in nature, and even with slight reading of the NCERTs, even with just revision of 2-3 times, we can easily solve these questions. Here see again, in nature, which of the following are most likely to be found surviving on a surface without soil? You might have read about that one single concept, succession of the ecosystem. There you might have read about this primary succession, secondary succession, how the different stages are there. Okay, there itself you might have seen this thing, that the first community which invades an area, at that point of time there is barely any soil. They are just growing on the rocks which are there, like our lichens and mosses. Okay, so here again, can you give me the answer? What would be the answer in this case? Anyone, can you give me the answer here? We have first option is 1 and 4 only, second is B, 2 only, third is C, 2 and 3 only, and then we have D, 1, 3 and 4 only. Okay, so what would be the correct answer here? Which of them are most likely to be found surviving on a surface without even soil? Okay, so what can be the correct answer here? I have got one answer as A and second answer as C. Okay, anyone else? I have got two answers as C. See here, when we are talking about the pioneer communities, here we are having lichens and mosses. So in this question, the answer would be C, 2 and 3 only. Okay, in this question, we will have the answer as C, 2 and 3 only. Okay, they too can grow even without the soil. Okay, whereas when we are talking about the mushroom or fern, they require some amount of humus in order to grow. Some amount of dead and organic matter is required. But these lichens and mosses, when we talk about especially the lichens, they can even take the atmospheric nitrogen directly. Okay, so they are significant from this point of view, that they are the first community in the stage of evolution of the entire ecosystem. Okay, that is our concept, the succession, ecological succession, from where this question has been framed. The primary stage of succession, we have these communities, lichens and mosses. In the climax stage, we are going to have the forest. Okay, see, there are certain terms associated with it, like the pioneer community. Pioneer community is basically the first community to invade any area, like lichens and mosses. Then the various stages of succession, they are called as series, and the community which belong to those intermediate stages are also referred to as seral community. Okay, then we have having this climax community, like when we talk about the forests are considered as the climax community. They are considered that it is the final stage of evolution of the ecosystem. Then after, what happens? Again the ecosystem is destroyed, and then again new ecosystem will evolve at the same place after some period of time. Okay, so forest is our last stage. Okay, and here we are having it as the climax community. Okay, now one more thing, there are two types of succession, the primary one, the secondary one. Primary occurs where no life has existed in the past at that place. Suppose there is a recently formed island, okay, or a recent fold mountain. In that place, if the life has just started, it will be referred to as primary community, primary succession. Okay, and secondary succession, it happens where the life has existed in past, it has been destroyed, but now the life has again begun. The ecosystem has again started to evolve. That will be called as secondary succession. The secondary succession is faster. Primary succession is slower than the secondary succession. Yes, So correct answer there will be C only, that is 2 and 3 only. Okay. Then let's see another question. Now this is related to the species part. Okay. Here there is one question. Which one of the following protected areas is well known for the conservation of a subspecies of the Indian swamp deer, Barasingha, that thrives well on hard ground and is exclusively graminivorous? Okay. So this was one question, that in which national park we have this prevalence of the Barasingha. Okay. Can you give me the answer of this question, that where we found Barasingha in India? We are having these 4 options: Kanha National Park, Manas National Park, Mudumulai Wildlife Sanctuaries and Tal Chapar Wildlife Sanctuary. Can you give me the answer of this question, where we can find the existence of a subspecies? Like in India, if we talk about the swamp deer, there are 3 different subspecies, and one of them is Barasingha. And this Barasingha is found in a particular location. Okay. It is found in a particular location, and that will be Kanha National Park in Madhya Pradesh. This is the hard deciduous ground where we have this existence of Indian swamp deer subspecies Barasingha. Okay. So yes, here the answer would be Kanha National Park in Madhya Pradesh. Okay. Now you can see this is your swamp deer or Barasingha, and here we are having certain other species of deer in India. Like see here, spotted deer or chital. If we look at its habitat, it is found from the base of Himalayas to South India. Okay. Means in the mainland of India, it will be there, but it is not found in northeastern part of the country. Okay. Then there is another sambar deer. Here you can see again it is found from base of Himalaya to South India and from Rajasthan to northeast. Means it is like spread over the entire country from west to east and from north to south. Okay. So this is another deer. And then we have having this Barasingha. This Barasingha is located in this Kanha Tiger Reserve or Kanha National Park. Okay. If we talk about the spotted deer, it is the state animal of Telangana. If we talk about Sambar, it is a state animal of Orissa. And if we talk about Barasingha, it is a state animal of MP. Okay. This Sambar, it is the largest of all deer species found in India. Okay. And this Barasingha is hard ground swamp deer. Okay. When you look at its IUCN status, see this spotted deer, it is least concern. Sambar, it is vulnerable. And Barasingha, it is also vulnerable. Now see, earlier Barasingha was endangered. Okay. Now with conservation efforts, the number of Barasingha has increased. It is more than something around 800 or more than that. So now this Barasingha is in vulnerable category in the IUCN red list. Okay. Earlier the population of Barasingha was very low. Okay. It was even at some point of time, it was even low than 100 in number. But now its population has increased. Now it is more than 800. So it is again in vulnerable category. Okay. The spotted deer, it is in schedule 3. The Sambar is also in schedule 3. Barasingha is in schedule 1. Okay. And in sites, especially this Barasingha is mentioned in appendix 1. Okay. So these are about the conservation features of this Barasingha, Sambar and spotted deer. Okay. Sometimes it is better to compare, like other species of deer are also there. We have taken just 3 for comparison here. It's better to compare them on one single ground and using these parameters so that you can easily revise them. Okay. So this is one such species, Barasingha and other ones. Okay. Then see, we have one more question here, and this is related to the law portion, especially the Wildlife Protection Act 1972. This is one such law related to this environment section, from where we are getting questions very much frequently. Okay. In different aspects, sometimes directly on the provisions, sometimes on the application of it. Okay. So see here, there is a question, if a particular plant species is placed under Schedule 6 of the Wildlife Protection Act 1972, what is the implication? Earlier there have been questions on Schedule 1 also, that if an animal is there in Schedule 1, what will be the implication? Similarly, they have asked about Schedule 6, that what is going to be the implication if a particular plant species is placed under this Schedule 6. Now you have 4 options here. First is a license is required to cultivate that plant. Second is such a plant cannot be cultivated under any circumstances. Third is it is a genetically modified crop plant. Fourth is such a plant is invasive and harmful to the ecosystem. Okay. So what would be the correct answer here? Okay. What would be the correct answer of this question? That if a particular species is placed in Schedule 6, if a particular plant species is there, what would be the implication of this? Anyone? What we can get from here? This is one such area where UPSC has been framing a lot of questions. Sometimes on Schedule 1, sometimes directly on the provision of this Wildlife Protection Act, sometimes simply on the basis of the implications of the provision. Okay. Now here, the answer would be A, that is a license is required to cultivate that plant. Okay. Basically, there are 6 schedules. Okay. When we talk about Schedule 1 to 4, it contains certain wild animals whose hunting is prohibited. Okay. So Schedule 1 to 4 are containing those wild animals whose hunting is prohibited. Okay. And they are varying level of protection. Schedule 1 means highest level of protection. Schedule 2 means a little bit lower, but still it is protected. Okay. It is about the punishment. Suppose there is a person and the person has hunted an animal listed in Schedule 1, he would be having the highest level of punishment. Schedule 2 a bit lower, Schedule 3 a bit lower. Okay. So it is about the degree of protection for that species. Okay. The importance of the species for our entire biodiversity. Okay. Then Schedule 5, it contains those species which are allowed to be hunted by the common people. Okay. And here we are having certain things like mice, rats, common crows, flying foxes. Okay. These species are also called as vermin species. Okay. Now there is also one thing. From time to time, certain species can be declared as a vermin species. The question is, who can declare it? The declaration of the vermin species can be done only by the central government. Okay. So that is also an associated concept which you should keep in mind. That when we talk about the vermin species, they can be declared only by the central government, not by the state government. Okay. So central government by its notification, by its order, can declare certain species to be vermin species for a specified period of time and for a specified area also, or for the entire country. Okay. Then Schedule 6, here we have certain plants whose cultivation is prohibited in general, but at the same time, if certain people want to cultivate that plant, they have to obtain a license for its cultivation. Okay. So some of them are invasive, some of them are also like, you can see them, they are like carnivorous plants also. Okay. So for multiple reasons they have been prohibited, but that is the main implications which we can draw from it. These are the plants whose cultivation is prohibited in general, and if someone still wants to cultivate it, they need this license in order to cultivate those plants. Okay. What we are having? We are having Bedouin cycad, blue vanda, couth, ladies slipper orchids, pitcher plant and red vanda. These are the species which are mentioned in Schedule 6 of the Wildlife Protection Act. Okay. So they are the species whose cultivation is prohibited in general, and if still someone wants to cultivate them, they need a license in order to cultivate it. Okay. Then, now, one more question is there. Why is a plant called Prospis juliflora often mentioned in the news? Okay. Now see this, I think you might have gone through the newspapers, the name of this plant, or even in basic reading of the NCERTs or your class notes, you might have gone about this species. So can anyone tell me that what would be the answer of this question? Why is a plant called Prospis juliflora often mentioned in the news? First point is, its extract is widely used in cosmetics. It tends to reduce the biodiversity in the area in which it grows. Third is, its extract is used in the synthesis of pesticides. And the fourth one is none of the above. Okay. So what would be the answer here? See, basically, this plant is a alien invasive species. Okay, this plant is a alien invasive species. Means it can invade certain area and it can reduce the native biodiversity which is found in that area. And for that purpose, the answer here would be B. Okay, so this is one species. The answer here would be B, not C. It is an alien invasive species and it has the tendency to reduce the native biodiversity of certain area. Okay, see, when we talk about the alien invasive species, okay, these species are quite much powerful in terms of their extent. Okay, they can tolerate a wide range of soil and weather condition. They can reproduce at very fast rate. Their root system is very aggressive. They grow in a very short period of time. Even the dispersal of their seed is very high. Okay, and their native range is also broad. Okay, so what we are witnessing in the case of the alien invasive species, they can grow in an area at an exponential rate. And in that condition, what would happen? They would replace away the native species. Okay, so what it is doing, it is reducing the biodiversity of that region. Okay, so for that purpose, here the answer would be B. It tends to reduce the biodiversity in the area where it grows. Okay, so that is a very important question. Alien invasive species are also quite much frequently asked in the examination. Sometimes they can ask you about the implication. Sometimes they can ask you about the example. Okay, see, we have name of some prominent alien invasive species in India. Okay, one of them is Alternanthera phylogerates, then Cassia uniflora, Chromalena odorata, Ecornia crecipis, Lantana camera, Parthenium historophorus, and Prospis juliflora. Okay, there are more than 150 plus alien invasive species in India, and the government itself recognizes them as the major, as the most important alien invasive species which are found in India. Okay, so of course the name is a bit scientific, but then if you go through it multiple times, you can get the idea that yes, this is one of the alien invasive species which is found in India. Okay, so in today's session, we have discussed about a few things, about the law also, about certain species also, the protected areas also, Kanha National Park, and some basic concepts. So in tomorrow's session, we will again have discussion on some of the important previous year questions related to environment, and then we will also discuss the related concepts. I hope you are liking these videos. You are also taking benefit of all these discussions. Previous year questions are like a magnetic compass to your preparation. So just go through them for all the subjects and it is really going to be very much helpful. Thank you everyone, and you can download these PDFs. Again, I am saying this, you can download these PDF of these sessions from the link provided in the description of the video. Thank you very much. Okay. Thank you everyone. Let's meet you tomorrow. All the best. Thank you.